My name is Lorena Canales, and I'm a food and design critic. I explore material culture through people's interactions with food, objects, and pop phenomena. I developed my food and design taste while exploring the intricacies of street food in my hometown of Guadalajara in Mexico. I have an undergrad in industrial design, and after I graduated, I realized I liked the stories of the objects more than the objects themselves. So I started writing about artifacts, their creators, and their collectors. Hello, good afternoon. My name is Lorena, and my research started 6 years ago. It was 2010, and I was an undergrad studying industrial design. I had just read Changed by Design by Tim Brown. By those of you who don't know who he is, he's the CEO of IDEO, one of the world's most important innovation and design consultancies. And for a vast majority of product designers like myself, IDEO is the holy grail. So I read the book and fell in love with design thinking. But what is design thinking? According to Tim Brown, design thinking is the best approach to innovation, both in business and in life, that businesses and individuals can use to generate ideas and create change. Design thinking also has a process, very general: empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test, and it has a natural habitat, which lives in the sweet spot between business, technology, and human values. So after all this, I thought to myself, what am I going to design think? So I wanted to, solve all of Mexico's problems. First off, narco, and if anyone can actually combat narco, it might be design thinking, because the Mexico's government will never do that. I thought maybe work in handcraft, but I settled for tourism in my city. So my venture in entrepreneurship and design thinking was a book I did for Guadalajara, in which I tackled with my partners through innovative, everyday problem solving, how to get the best taco at hand. Soon after, I learned that design thinking had ill-prepared me for this. The project crashed, and before it could become the dream I wanted, it didn't. So I was heartbroken. After that, I went to the family business and had another go at implementing design thinking with no real success. So we took another direction. And then this past fall, I decided to come back to design thinking. Having been at a distance, I thought I'd look at it critically. And I found this: Yeezy, Kanye West, and the Art of Design Thinking, and What the Chinese Junk Can Teach Us About Design Thinking. Not very good article, though. So what about the promise of design thinking? What is it that I found so seductive about design thinking? Well, it empowers us. It prompts us to solve both everyday problems and wicked problems, from dieting to world hunger. It also promises to unleash the passion, energy, and creativity in people, and also the best solutions for their customers. This for all the companies who can do human-centered design and empathy. And it also promises eureka moments. Just a brainstorm session away lies innovation. And I managed to also find that bigger companies now, are not only adopting, but adapting design thinking to their corporate cultures. Like IBM, Pepsi, Capital One, and McKinsey, they all want their clients to know they're design thinking something. And that's not new. They used to do, Kaizen to lean management, but not what they're doing. And a good example for that is IBM. They're selling it back to their clients, their insights. So when authoritative figures like Phil Gilbert at IBM states that design thinking is a scientific method of the 21st century, students, startups, and big corporations, just they have to know design thinking is a way. But is it? I'm not so sure. So if we take a look at this, the language here, this is part of a deck by IBM. There's, little nuggets of wisdom that sort of sound like self-help. Always be relevant. Restlessly reinvent. Interact and co-create. And my favorite, enable truth. Be authentic, be ethical, persuade, but let the audience decide. Confused? I am. I don't know. So in this positive, mysterious, and confusing, quasi-inspirational lingo, I believe design thinking is becoming less of a managerial discourse, but a self-help discourse. So IBM, for example, is taking the method and bringing its brand to it, its language. So now the landscape has hills, sponsor users, and playbacks. I couldn't forgo the Post-it note, but I call it the Post-it note quilt. It's not just one or two Post-it notes, but it's a highly choreographed ideation session or something like that. But what's interesting is that at IBM they use it as a democratic leveling mechanism, meaning if you and everyone in this room uses the same Post-it note 3x3 in a black Sharpie felt tip pen, we can all have the same voice. And I consider that, office supplies difficult. It's very difficult for them to erase office hierarchies. So, could this new strand of design thinking be modeling itself after self-help? Motivational speakers, maybe? TED? I don't know. Because they're definitely in the business of inspiration, not necessarily the business of design or the business of business. So are we going to find the next Tony Robbins in one of these companies? Will we find design thinking ultimate guru? The race for leadership in these companies, they will likely push their own method, and perhaps they will attempt to become the gurus themselves. Thank you.